With the time that we have today, I want to go through a real quick agenda. We'll do some introductions. I'm also want to give all of the attendees an overview of Conga and the company, an overview of Conga Composer, which is the product that we have integrated some joint solutions with Jobscience. And then I'm going to do that really quickly, jump into the demo, because that's really where the most value for you to be able to see those joint solutions and how Conga and Jobscience can work together to create those recruitment documents. In this case, we're going to talk about some account plans. We're going to show a contract solution and also a couple of different ways to create and send resumes. I'll hop back then to the slide deck. We'll talk a little bit about pricing and resources, and of course we want to make sure that we answer any questions. So you can hold those until the QA time, or if you want to submit them as questions via the questions tab in GoToWebinar, you can do that as well, and Coleman will kind of manage those. So Coleman, do you want to hop in really quickly and just give a real quick introduction of yourself? I know you kind of did that initially, but
absolutely. So as I mentioned before, Coleman Brinkerhoff, Senior Analyst, Partnership Manager. I came to Jobscience in June of last year. Prior to that, I have 15 plus years corporate agency and executive search experience. I'm a recruiter who fell in love with the ATS ecosystem and brought my passion for recruitment to an actual I was fortunate enough to join Jobscience and found kind of a new calling in my role here.
Terrific. And my name is Chris Cook. I'm the Director of Business Development here at Conga. I've been fortunate enough to be with Conga from the early days, since 2007, when we had just been on the App Exchange about a year. My sole focus here, after working as a business analyst, managing a customer success team, and working with our consulting and SI partners, is now totally focused on our App Exchange ISV partners like Jobscience and how we can work together to take the real strong attributes, benefits, and strengths of other App Exchange products like Jobscience and embed them with Conga functionality for that kind of document generation. So that's what we're going to show today. A little bit about Conga, and I promise I'll go quickly. We were founded in 2006, one of the first 20 products on the Salesforce App Exchange. We're headquartered here in lovely Broomfield, Colorado, which is on the road between Denver and Boulder. Great place to be. We do have global offices and staff worldwide. We've got a team in Australia that works with customers and partners in Australia and Asia Pac. We've also got 2 offices in the UK that focus with our UK and EMEA customers and partners. At last count, we had a little over 6,500, close to 6,600 actual customers worldwide, with well over 140,000 active subscribers, people creating documents and reports and presentations with Conga Composer on a daily basis. We're in 45 plus countries, and I just updated this last night for this slide deck that since the very beginning of time, we've generated a little over 110 million total documents with Conga Composer. So we are the most popular document automation solution for Salesforce.com. We're also have always been in the top 10 of the App Exchange with, at last count, 600 5-star App Exchange reviews. So if you've got questions, if you're wondering a little bit more about who we are, by all means, please go to the App Exchange, take a look. I think you'll certainly be comforted to know that we've been around. This is all we do. Conga Composer is only for the Salesforce platform. A little logo sheet just to give you an idea. Conga Composer, think of Conga as a very broad, agnostic product and platform. While we work with large companies for their document generation, we also have a huge following in SMB, mid-market space, nonprofit. Everyone that is using Salesforce and using the platform has those requirements. And quite frankly, Salesforce doesn't do it very well. So we've been very fortunate to have an offering that meets a lot of needs across all industries, across all verticals. Again, we're going to show today very, very specific solutions that are hand in hand with job science. But to give you an idea of kind of who we are, you know, the fact that Salesforce is one of our biggest customers is always a little badge of pride that they have 5 or 6 different solutions running because they realize that we can do that better as well. Conga Composer is our flagship product. When most people think of Conga, they will think of Conga Composer. Composer is our Salesforce-only product that allows you, as a job science user and as a Salesforce user, to gather, basically take any data from any object. And you'll notice on here we've got a variety of objects, Salesforce objects, files, contacts, whatever those standard sales and Service Cloud objects, but specifically in your job science org. Those are all custom objects with custom data. We allow you to gather that information, publish it, and merge it into a variety of documents, and documents that you're familiar with, right? This is, we're being able to take information, put it into Microsoft Word, put it into Excel, put it into a PowerPoint presentation, put it into PDF, put it into email, and then allow you a variety of ways to deliver that. And we'll show some of that today, but primarily think of it as any data from Salesforce or from your job science platform into a variety of document templates, and then a variety of ways to deliver those. So you can go back to the user, it can go out via email, we can save those documents to notes and attachments, to Chatter, a variety of ways to do it that way. We can also send those documents through a couple of our e-signature partners as well, so DocuSign and Adobe Certify, also to Google Drive also. What we're not going to talk about on this call, but we'll be happy to answer questions either after the webinar or on a separate call, is there's other ways to automate this as well. What we're going to show is very much a user experience and how you generate those documents from a user initiative. But Conga does also offer a couple automated solutions that you can actually fire those processes off via workflow, and then also be able to batch and schedule more of those bulk type merges as well. Okay. Top use cases, this is kind of across our entire customer base. When you think about what information do you need to generate to send out of your org and be able to send to your customers, customer-facing type documents, reports and presentations, but by no means is this exclusive. There are, as we said, thousands of customers, hundreds of thousands of users generating any type of document you can imagine based on their needs. One thing I did want to focus on here, and I'm going to ask Coleman to join me here, because this was really kind of the thrust of what we want to accomplish and show today, given the fact that this is a pretty focused audience on job science from a customer and prospect standpoint, and what we really want to solve with these solutions. And one of the pieces that I wanted to ask was, Coleman, you mentioned in your introduction that you've landed at job science after a very, very long time as a recruiter in the agency and in the enterprise space. And coming to job science, you are kind of uniquely qualified, having sat in the chair and, you know, and shoved people out there. Tell me a little bit about, you know, from your perspective in those previous positions, what would be something that would continually frustrate you or drive you crazy, or what was always kind of a hurdle that you faced?
Absolutely, Chris. Didn't always shove people out there. Maybe
I meant that in the nicest term only.
I know. So one of the biggest things, and prior to job science, I was a corporate recruiter. Prior to that, years in search and staffing. And when I was in search and staffing, I made this error all the time. But when I was in corporate, the biggest thing that would just frustrate me beyond belief is I'm getting resumes from various third parties, and even one third party could send me three resumes of great candidates, but the inconsistency in font and inconsistency in resume formatting or branding were just things that frustrated me. So what I looked to Conga to come up with something, they tick all the buttons that say, you know what, I'm going to get resumes that are consistently formatted, consistently branded, and all of the follow-up documents that we may get from them are all going to have the same consistent um, look, feel, branding, etc. to them. So that to me was one of the, again, that was one of the biggest frustrations that our product partner in Congo can help overcome from
Super.
staffing agencies sending, large not resumes and accompanying documents out.
Sure. So that really kind of touches on my kind of high points and the real benefits of how we work together with Job Science here at Conga. And, the key piece is going to be, as we show you this process, thinking about it from a time and efficiency standpoint. You all spend a lot of time, and Job Science makes it very, very easy and very you've got a platform there that allows for a lot of information through that recruiting process. What we want to make sure that we're able to do is at the end of that process, where you need to generate some type of document, whether it be a resume or a contract or some kind of an account plan, whatever that might be, that all that time that you've spent ensuring that the quality of that data is correct and up to date and complete, that we're making the process of taking it out of Job Science quick and easy, basically error-free, and saving a lot of time. So you're not cutting and pasting and you're not losing that efficiency. What Coleman mentioned, I think, is also really crucial is being able to have all of your users have consistent branding of all the documents, all the information that you're sending out outside of your org for that appearance, so you're not using 4 or 5 different versions of a template. You're not using 2 or 3 different emails. You're not copying and pasting, that it's very consistent and up to date in the most current versions of that. And as Coleman mentioned, as a recipient or as someone who is receiving those documents and those resumes particularly, correct branding to reinforce your company and also correct formatting, appearance, consistent information in a consistent format will only get those resumes hopefully to the top of that pile, because they're going to be easier to see. They're going to be easier to spend that key amount of time with and not have to hunt for that crucial data. Eliminating errors, I kind of talked to that initially too, is we're going to show a couple of solutions that are very, very easy to train. It's not the adoption from Conga Composer to generate these documents is not going to be a hard hurdle to get over. It's going to be a 1 or 2 button click process. A lot of this can be automated and predefined, so getting your users to make that jump from what you're doing now to a Conga Composer solution is going to be very, very simple. Your training document will be, go to this record, punch this button, select this template, and click. So it becomes a very, very simple process for you to enable and have your folks be able to use those solutions. And then something else I threw in here, we're going to show, like I said, 3 solutions in the demo, but really want you to all be thinking as we're showing those solutions, you can use any Job Science data. So think of any relationships, any multiple object data, anything that you're storing to create any number of documents, reports, presentations. So don't think of this as a resume builder solution. Don't think of it merely as a contracting solution. Think of it as any type of document, presentation, or report that you need to generate. And that can be customer facing, that could be recruit facing, it can also be internal facing as well. I'm going to hop over to the demo and give me a moment here. We're going to start on a account record. This should look familiar to you. This is a Job Science account, and just so happens to be the fact that the name is Job Science. And what I want to show is a couple solutions that are account-based. The first one is a client summary report. And with Conga Composer, you will create, or Jobscience and Conga will create for you, those solutions that will be initiated from a button or a link on a page. So kind of reiterating that ease, it's going to be a button that will say Client Summary Report or say Create Contract. This can be designed so that it's very simple for your users. So we'll build this solution. Behind this button, it creates a URL and goes and gets some information and some instructions. This is what the standard Conga Composer user interface will look like. And this has got no abbreviations or no automation to it. But what we're doing at this point is when we click that button, we are telling Conga Composer to get all the related information to this account to be able to create what we're calling a client summary document. And the client summary document has information from that account, but also information from the related open assignments and from the related placement records. And that really is what I want to emphasize kind of on this first solution is we're able to get all that information that's related to a record. And kind of think of it as a big net cast. Once you click that button, we're tossing out a big net, getting all the related information, and then displaying this to the user to say, well, what template do I want to use? In this case, we're seeing a client summary doc. It actually is a Word template that we're going to use. But if you had, for example, 5 or 6 different templates, you could give those users a choice here. This could also be filtered, pre-selected, and locked. So this is where you'll be able to see the template list. In this case, it's a client summary doc that we built. This resides in Salesforce.com in the platform. So this will reside in the Jobscience org. Very, very important that these templates are managed and updated and created and deleted by a single person within your org. So you're not taking an old version and doing a save as and copying and pasting. You're not taking a version that might be in an outbox that could be 7 months old and updating it and then not being able to show that anywhere. So very, very good from a time saving but consistency standpoint. And again, this really reiterates this is the branding. This is the latest version of the consistency that we're going to select. So the client summary document is here. We also have some email templates that Conga will allow you to use and preset. So again, your messaging as you're delivering it via email, we can create an email template. In this case, I've got a couple, but the client summary report email template is there as well. So we're going to choose the client summary document. What you'll see on the right-hand side are a lot of behaviors, and these can all be customized, and Coleman and I are working with product folks here at Conga and product folks there at Jobscience to build these solutions with the best kind of user experience to give folks the ability to have some freedom to choose, but also be able to automate those as well. So in this case, there's a couple different ways we can do this. We can have the output option be the same as the template, or we'll convert it to a PDF. So really nice that you can build a template in Microsoft Word, which is quite frankly very, very easy and designed to take that information. But Conga Composer can convert it to a PDF, so especially for contracts, but resumes as well. You don't need to build it as a PDF document. We can build it as a Word template. A variety of ways that we can deliver this. We can download it, we can email it. If we had specified that we wanted to send this for e-signature, we could deliver this to DocuSign or Adobe e-signature or Certify as well. So in this case, we're going to choose email. We're going to change it back to a PDF. Composer also gives you the ability to save a version or save a copy of that document that you're generating, in this case the client summary, a variety of places. So you can enable this. This was something that I pre-selected in that button to say we want to save a copy. And you can save it to notes and attachments. You can save it to content, to chatter, or to documents. And for this exercise, we'll change it to notes and attachments. We can also log activities against that record, in this case the account, and preset that subject to say this is the client summary that was created for Jobscience, which is that account. So not only are we taking the information, putting it into a template that is going to be consistent, but from an operational standpoint, from a consistency of the process, we're going to convert it, we're going to get it ready to email, we're going to save a copy in notes and attachments, we're also going to log an activity as well. Another feature that I'd love to show you or mention is a function called update fields, where as part of this process we can go back into the account record or back into a contract record or back into a contact or assignment or whatever that might be. And as part of that Conga process, we can update some fields. So we can automatically have some workflow that will check a checkbox, set a value, put a date field in there. Okay. So in this case, I'm going to show you what the process looks like. This is a live org that JobScience has made available to me. So thank you. We're going to go ahead, gather the information about the account, about the assignments, about those placements, merge it to this template, convert it to a PDF, save a copy on the account, create a task, complete a task on that account, but drop us off in an actual email template that we've pre-specified. So no longer do you have to create the document, save it, open it up somewhere, save it to your desktop or wherever it might be, save it, open up an email, compose the email, get in the right recipient information. What we've done now is automatically specified Kyle Owen as our recipient. This is the subject that came from the email template. And you'll notice it's an email template that we've built in Conga Composer that says, great, we appreciate the opportunity to serve. Please find your summary report if you have any questions. And that document is attached to this particular email. We'll go ahead and send that off to Kyle. And at the end of this process, we'll refresh the account. What we'll see is there is an activity, there is the attachment, client summary, job science, that's the actual document, and we've created an activity history and a task here. That's really important as well, that you're always going to have a dated and stamped and user record, so you'll always be able to see what the summary was on January 28th. You won't have to look through all those emails. Okay. The same way we can do that, let me show you a contract record. And in this case, we're going to create the contract from the account or initiate it. You could certainly do this from anywhere in the job science org. But in this case, we're going to get some information from this account from an actual related contract record that you have here as well, this executed contract, and then also from some assignments that are associated with that particular contract. So the same process, we're going to create that button on the account. In this case, we're getting the contract information, we're getting the assignment information, we're pulling some information from that particular contract record. And here is a contract template. And in this case, we're going to change it. We're just going to download it and be able to, actually, we'll email it. But what I want to show you is a preview of that particular document. Another great function of Conga Composer is you're able to, before you commit to sending it, emailing it, doing all these pieces, we can preview it. So we'll take a look at it. It's going to open up as a PDF document. And this contract, again, can be created following your contract guidelines. So here's a general staffing contract. We built this in Microsoft Word, then converted it, but it's showing some information about the contract, about the start date. It's putting in information about us. This is merging from Salesforce, from JobScience, that information, and populating that template. You'll see that it's also branded, so all of these templates have got a header with a consistent logo attached and a consistent footer as well. Another benefit just from that branding piece. But you'll notice here's that 11 pages. We've got the information here that can be created. All of this information can be also set up dynamically so that if certain sections don't apply based on a contract field or a contract value, we can hide or show those pieces. If you've got state-specific or specific types of contracts, Composer gives you a lot of ability using if statements in Microsoft Word to show or hide information. So you may not have to have 26 different versions of a contract. You could have one that allows for all that dynamic content. So pretty straightforward. Signature pieces we can put in, e-signature tags here for DocuSign, Adobe, Certify as well. Here's some information that's coming from that particular group of assignments that are open for this contract. You could, again, you could generate this from the contract record. You could generate it from an assignment or placement record and gather the information up. It really is very, very flexible to allow you to do that. We'll go ahead and send that off. And in this case, we'll post it to Chatter, and off we go. So the same process. Again, really thinking about what your look and feel of that contract is going to be. One thing I want to tell you is just a personal story is we're actually at Conga in the process now of redoing all of our partner contracts. So now instead of having a single contract that we would send out to a partner, to a possible reseller, what we're going to build is 5 different documents that you can show here and build a package of that contract. So you might have different exhibits, different types of pricing based on whether it's a temporary placement or a perm placement, different types of things based on the type of document. You may want to show this, we need to include a particular security clearance document. But in this case, this one single contract, you could build 5 or 6 different components, have your users pick and choose those pieces, and Composer can put that together as one contract delivered as a PDF. So a lot of flexibility that way if you wanted to build more of a batch process. And here's the same process. We're going to gather the information together, send it on that email, convert it to a PDF, and now we've selected a different email template because of that particular button. Now we're talking about the contract. Kyle, please find the contract with terms and conditions, and then call with any questions. We can go back, and you've already seen that contract. So there's a couple of solutions from the account record, the summary, and the contract. What I want to show now is the resume pieces, and this is something that Coleman really highlighted and talked about, is being able to, from a particular contact record, send all this information that is captured on that contact record. So you've got employment history, you've got education, you've got skills, you may want to have references as well. But all this information can now be created into a resume format that you decide is what your consistent corporate format is going to look like. So we'll build that template. The information we're gathering the same way. We're casting that net, like I said, to get that information. In this case, it's going to be that contact, but also the employment, education, and skill information is going to be on there. And we built these two, quite frankly, for Dreamforce. That was a full resume version and then also a blind resume. So the blind resume does not have any contact info, but we'll show you the full resume. We'll download this as a Word document. We're going to save it to notes and attachments, but we won't log an activity. So here is a case of gathering all the information that's pertinent to that candidate, right? Putting it into that resume document. And I'll show you what the template looks like in a minute here, but wanted to show you that this is, a pretty basic, straightforward type of a template. So whatever you've decided or whatever you want to show to your customers, we can build that template with logos, with font, with color, with style, so that your customers get a consistent look and feel each time. And whatever the candidate, whatever the experience, this will dynamically change their skills and experience, their education. All this information will be consistent throughout that process. So we're taking it, again, showing all the experience, all the skills and expertise, but in a matter of just 5 seconds, we've captured it, put it into this template. So going back just from a operational standpoint, having all this information very complete and thorough and accurate, we make the process of saying, great, I've spent all the time ensuring that everything is accurate on Ted's record, all the employment history is up to date, all the education is correct, all these skills have been done, that process of creating the resume is now going to be, in this case, 1 2-click process to be able to generate it and download it. So saving that time, focusing on the consistency as well, and being able to do that process very easily and simply. I could go on and I could actually do a 2.5-hour demo. Coleman has been nice enough to not give me that much time. But some other things I can say is everything that you see on this page, you as a user, this can be pre-selected. So we can pre-select the template we want to choose. We can pre-select the output options. We can pre-select how we save it. We can pre-select the activity logging so that when a user comes in, they're not having to do this. That can all be put into that button or that solution, what the behavior is going to look like. This entire screen can be skipped and run in background mode so the users don't even see this screen. If you pre-select and lock all the opportunities or the options that they have, that can be, again, more of a one-click process as well. You really have a lot of flexibility around what's the process, what's the document, and what do we want the user experience to be. We can help you at Conga to either show this, have the ability to select it. You can also jump right to a preview the document, and then automatically send it via email, send it for e-signature. So a wide variety of ways that you can use this document solution. Okay.
Great, Chris. I know we're running.
Coleman, do you want to jump in? I was going quickly, but hoping to also make sure that we're
well, I think we've had a couple of questions.
Being respectful of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've had a couple of questions come in about pricing. And for the attendee who asked about pricing, ye ask and we shall deliver. I think we'll quickly go through pricing, and then for JobScience customers, please feel free to contact account executives or account managers. For Conga folks looking to learn more about JobScience, I'm a good point of contact.
Absolutely. So the pricing piece comes up, and it's appropriate to this. So think of Conga Composer as an unlimited document generation tool for your users. We price and manage subscriptions for Conga Composer at the user level, okay, and only for the users that would be generating these documents. So you don't need to license everyone in your org. So licensing starts in we call our Conga Composer Starter Pack, which is up to 10 users with an annual subscription starting at $18 per user per month. So if you think about that, it's basically a little less than $1 a day without any limitations to the number of solutions. So those buttons that we showed, the account brief, the contract, the resume builder, you can build as many of those solutions or have as many of those solutions built with us in JobScience for that subscription. You can also have any number of templates, and there's not a volume maximum on Conga Composer. So you could generate 100 documents a day. We don't put any kind of ceiling on the number of documents you can generate and send with Composer. Okay, so give you an idea that way, $18 a month. Starter pack is actually 10 users or less at $2,160 per year. So for 1 to 10 users, that's going to be the entry point for Composer. That does include support from JobScience and from Conga. Mm-hmm. I talked a little bit about our automated pieces.
Yep. One quick.
I won't touch on that. At this point, it might be a good next demo to talk about automating some of those processes. So I don't want to necessarily touch on that as much. Another question, Coleman, that might be answered here, but go ahead and answer that other question while folks are on.
One quick pricing question. Do you have any small business offerings for, say, a boutique staffing agency that has 1 to 5, I would call them shareholders?
Yep. So from that pricing that I showed was our kind of retail MSRP pricing to our direct customers. What I don't know is what options might be available working through JobScience and Conga directly. I would imagine we would probably have a different offering that would cover those, but to be determined at this point. Absolutely. Thank you for asking them.
Thank you. So you're talking about resources, and then we'll do a quick Q&A?
Exactly. So just wanted to make sure everyone has this. This is very specific Conga resources. So take a look at our App Exchange listing. Look at who's using it. Look at some of those reviews. Conga Sphere is our main kind of website for all support, all our basics that go on, learning Conga Composer, Conga TV, all of our videos, getting started guides, demos, recorded webinars, a great resource to see other ways you can use Conga Composer. What I didn't show today is how to merge into Excel. So you could have some reports that you may want to take out of Job Science, merge into Excel to be able to deliver to executives, or how to merge into PowerPoint. There's some great demos of how that works, and that would most definitely work with Job Science data as well. Our upcoming webinars, if you're so inclined, and then Conga support really from a point going forward, if you're interested in seeing how Conga Composer might be able to work with your current org, encourage you to download from the App Exchange, contact our support group, and we can walk you through a demo and a trial if you're interested in that. And by all means, also please consider Coleman and myself resources for that point as well. So we're bumping up a little over our time, but I want to be real respectful and make sure if you got other questions before we end the webinar.
Yeah, and Chris, you were fantastic about doing some questions real time. I did have one more come in towards the end from a Job Science user, and I think the question's a little bit more complex because they were asking if this would be beneficial to utilize to put all my new hire paperwork. You know, what we covered was consistent document presentation. I believe if it's my take that this could be utilized to get the documents consistent for new hire paperwork. But there would probably have to be some I'm guessing some configuration.
You bet. So again, I would assume, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the new hire paperwork is going to be pretty consistent from each of your companies. So by all means, you could, the same way that we, for example, gather that information about to build that resume from that contact record, you could build a solution that would create those documents that you could send to that contact, populate the information that you have in Job Science, but also send that to them, for example, to fill out that information, do an e-signature process to return those back, or send them those documents for them to fill out, send back, whatever that process would be. Most definitely that is something that a lot of our HR customers do because it can be very simple, and the e-signature process can be built into those templates so that not only are we getting information from Job Science, but we can ask those that new hire to fill out information, do an e-signature that will come back into Job Science utilizing, if it's either DocuSign or Adobe, both have that that functionality. So most definitely, you can even build 10 or 15 different templates, and then based on that hire, select the packet of those templates you want to generate to that customer. To that new hire. So you have almost like a library of new hire templates that can build that pack to send. So that may be a great follow-on for this demo, Coleman, to build a new hire solution. So we'd love to do that.
It looks like we had one other question that ties in. So DocuSign is an integrated partner with Conga, correct?
Correct. We actually have hard integrations, so technical integrations with Adobe e-signature, with DocuSign, and with Certify. So there are instructions that we can put into that Composer button, that Conga button, that will generate the document and then pre-populate either the DocuSign or Adobe window, and then we'll send that as opposed to sending it for download or saving a copy or sending it via email. We'll open up and we'll do a handoff to DocuSign or Adobe. So absolutely, we can even build in those signature tags and those fields in the Conga template to allow for signature dates, other information that needs to be populated and completed, perhaps in either the contract or that hire document. So yep, we've been working with DocuSign as an integration partner since 2009.
Fantastic.
So, yep, and they actually resell Conga Composer and are very proficient at Conga, and we are very proficient here at Conga in all of those integrations. So happy to show you how that would work if you're so inclined during a trial. So absolutely reach out to us.
Gotcha. I think there might be one other question coming. Just hanging on for for the benefit of the people still, the folks still on the webinar, there's one other question
Sure.
coming. Chris, do you have a product called Library?
We do not have a
Oh, okay.
product called Library.
All right.
Yep.
I think that's the
So
question. That's the question that might have been
at least
coming.
today. Now next week, who
Oh,
knows? But
never know. I answered it. Okay. All right.
wonderful.
It looks like again, thank you for everyone. I know we ran over by about 5 or 8 minutes, so appreciate your staying with us on the webinar. I will wrap things up now, and again, thank you all for attending. Chris, wrap things up as well. Yep, they'll throw up the introductions page. So leave this here for a few minutes if you want to take down our contact info. Feel free to reach out to either one of us. Chris, thank you very much, and let you say
My
a few
pleasure.
things, and then we'll wrap up.
Thank you, Coleman, and thanks everyone for your attendance and your questions. Please consider us a resource. We really want to help. So if you have any questions or would like to try Conga Composer in conjunction with your job science product, by all means, let us know. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you all. Everyone have a wonderful rest of the morning, afternoon, or evening. Take care.
Bye-bye.